There are so many different clone trooper variants in the Star Wars universe, both in Star Wars Canon and Legends. And I've seen quite a few videos on YouTube going over the different clone legions, some of the different clone variants, but none I've seen have looked at some of the worst clones. There's a bunch of clone trooper variants, mainly in Star Wars Legends, that are just kind of ridiculous. So today I'm going to go through 10 of the worst clone troopers, the most useless or just all out stupid. And then at the end of the video, rank them from worst to best. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. And today, to help me with this video, I'm joined by a very special guest.
Hey guys, my name is Justin. I run the YouTube channel EckhartsLadder, and I want to give a very, very special thank you to my friend Andrew for inviting me over to help him with this video. Now, after you guys watch this, head over to my channel EckhartsLadder, and you guys can see another video that the two of us worked on together about the worst strategies that the various Star Wars factions have used. So make sure to check that out after this. There'll be a link down in the description. But go ahead, Andrew, get us started.
So first up, we have the Clone Assassin. And these guys were first seen in the Revenge of the Sith video game, one of my childhood favorites. They're the ninjas of the Clone Trooper world, and you face them when returning to the Jedi Temple with Obi-Wan and Yoda towards the end of the game. These Clone Troopers were especially commissioned by Supreme Chancellor Palpatine and trained in the art of Terras Kasi, specifically for eliminating Jedi. They were the Order 66 of all Order 66 clone troopers. They were only put into activation and deployed after Order 66, and apparently Palpatine justified the need for these clones as a way to fight the Jedi if they ever decided to go against the Senate and the Republic. Obi-Wan defeated all the clone assassins right before deactivating Darth Vader's message to all Jedi to return to the temple on Coruscant. That's the mission you play through in Revenge of the Sith game. And I guess these guys are kind of cool, although at the same time, not really clone troopers. They have two vibro blades attached to their arms, and in some ways, I guess could be compared to the BX Commando droids, but I think definitely belong in the Star Wars Legends universe. Apparently, the clone assassin's training involved fighting against Padawans. This just seems a bit far-fetched and ridiculous to me. I do remember these guys being really annoying to fight in Revenge of the Sith though. They dodge a lot of your lightsaber attacks because of how quick they are.
Alright, so next up are the Clone Blaze Troopers, another clone trooper class first appearing in the Revenge of the Sith video game, which, as a side note, is one of the most underrated Star Wars games of all time, and also in Star Wars Clone Adventures. Blaze Troopers are kind of like an advanced jet trooper with heavier armor, sort of acting like a mech suit. Their primary weapon is, of course, their flamethrower, which in full over-the-top mode they actually have on both arms. Dual-wield flamethrowers. I think that's a little bit ridiculous and over-the-top. They also use their mech suit arms to pick up their enemies and just crush them against their chest. And all in all, they sort of remind me of the Dark Troopers from the 2005 Star Wars Battlefront 2, just larger and bulkier, but also clumsier. In the Clone Wars Avengers, these guys were actually called Super Troopers, and if that name doesn't tell you why they belong on this list, then I'm not sure what will.
Okay, this next one is a bit of a joke, but is part of Star Wars Legends, the Cupid Clone Trooper, specialized clone troopers in the Grand Army of the Republic. Seen only in the Clone Wars Adventures, they had armor similarly designed to the Catan-class commando armor worn by clone commandos. I'm pretty sure the wings don't actually do anything here, they're just cosmetic, just glued onto the back of their armor. But apparently their bow and the arrow is capable of piercing even the strongest of armor, possibly even capable of getting through the super battle droids from Republic Commando in one hit. Getting nightmares just thinking about trying to take those guys down. And I think as a special name for these guys, we should call them the Valentine's Day Clone Trooper, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're supposed to be. Star Wars Valentine's Day special themed clone trooper.
Alright, so next for me we have another set of specialized clone commandos, and these are high orbit precision entry troopers. Also wearing Catan commando armor, Hope Troopers as they were called would be launched from capital ships or other space vessels in orbit of a planet, then of course traveling down to the planet in a controlled descent, almost like an ODST just without the drop pod. And as a note, there are actually other orbital entry platforms in Star Wars. We see some of them, for example, in the Yuuzhan Vong books. Anyway, Hope Troopers make their only appearance in Volume 6 of Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures, which was a comic released in 2006. In that story, they're sent to release Jedi Tree Tower on Yorn Scott, and I mean, space parachuting clone troopers, it speaks for itself. Pretty ridiculous, although I do really like their commando style armor. armor.
So next we have the clone Lancer Troopers, who I will admit are actually pretty badass. These troopers come from the Cartoon Network Clone Wars series from Chapter 8. A group of IG droids come in and start destroying Republic forces on speeder bikes, also using Lancers. So Obi-Wan orders his troopers to mount up, and the clones jump on their speeder bikes and start jousting with the IG droids. I think it's pretty funny that the clones just had the speeder bikes and Lancers ready, like just in case there was a droid force who also had similar weaponry. And obviously this whole thing is a throwback to medieval jousting on horses, which is also why I think it's kind of funny. They have all this advanced machinery and weapons, and they're still riding around using long pointy sticks as their primary weapons, ready on demand whenever they need them. The clones' bikes are pretty cool though. They have the helmet design of the clones on the front of the bike, so they get points for that. What's interesting is that these clone troopers are one of the only clone trooper variants to use melee weapons. And if you haven't seen the Clone Wars Cartoon Network cartoon, then you should definitely go check it out. It's some awesome action-packed Star Wars.
Alright, so next up is the Mech Trooper, and that's spelled M-E-C. Appearing in Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron and Elite Squadron, Mech Troopers are basically just clone troopers, but with exaggeratedly large bodies. In each game you can customize Mech Troopers with a few different helmets. There's a clone paratrooper helmet, a commando helmet, and a Commander Bakara helmet, but overall I do think they're just kind of boring. There's nothing super special about them apart from the fact that they are larger and have that slightly different and customizable armor. Apparently they're supposed to be some of the most well-trained clones in the Republic, but I don't really see any evidence of that, and that's something you hear a lot about clones and stormtroopers and just infantry in Star Wars generally.
Okay, next up is one of my favorite Star Wars meme clone troopers. I think a lot of us fell in love with this guy the first time we ever saw him. Remember this?
Sector is clear. Not clear! Not clear!
Sector is clear. The incompetent clone trooper class, the clone sharpshooter or specialist. They have a special visor on their helmet which acts as a micro binocular, allowing them to see off into the distance and use their sniper more effectively. It's supposed to be like a recon kind of guy, but based on this clip here, it seems to also seriously limit their perception skills. The slit out of their helmet is so small that they can't see anything around them. They're clueless, and that's why we love them.
So second to last for me is another joke clone trooper. Obviously this was never meant to be real, but it does technically exist in Star Wars Legends, the skeletal clone trooper. Let's just be frank, these are clones wearing dark Phase 2 armor with a spooky skeleton painted over it, also carrying a scythe into battle because that would be practical. Technically it exists and it's funny. I'm pretty sure these were a Halloween special released for the Clone Wars Adventures video game, but I can just imagine you taking like a battalion of these guys together, they don't even have blasters, and throwing them against some separatist droid forces. See how long they last.
Next is another strange looking clone trooper from Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures. This is Barrage, a clone commando who served during the Clone Wars, standing out from the other clones because of the spikes attached to his armor. This clone trooper also has what looks like a mohawk on his helmet, although his black armor is similar to the advanced recon force trooper. A very unique looking clone, a bit ridiculous, and that's kind of all there is to him. He's kind of like a rock and roll clone trooper, punk clone trooper.
Alright, finally we have the Wookiee clone trooper. Now, no, disappointingly this is not Wookiees in clone trooper armor or Wookiees trained in clone trooper arts. Instead, what we're looking is at Republic commandos with Wookiee styled armor, meant to look like Wookiee fur, which would be used to camouflage the troopers among other Wookiees on Kashyyyk or wherever else as a way to give themselves a tactical advantage against the droids.
Okay, so now it's time to rank all of these clone troopers from worst to best. Which ones are the most ridiculous and which ones are, even though they're kind of all silly, which one is at least somewhat useful. In 10th place, the absolute worst of these, the most ridiculous, I'm going to give to the skeletal clone trooper, or skeletal depending on how you say it. Just all out ridiculous here. What is this, like Star Wars Halloween special? 9th place goes to Barrage. Again, what's the point of this apart from just being a little bit of silly fun? 8th goes to the Mech Trooper. Not really sure what these guys are for, apart from being a slightly different variant of a heavy trooper. So therefore I feel like they're a bit unnecessary. 7th goes to the Cupid clone trooper. I guess the bow and arrow is kind of cool and it's supposed to be really powerful, but all over just a ridiculous ridiculous clone trooper variant. Unnecessary. I guess they're somewhat romantic. If you're going to make a clone trooper romantic, this would be what it looks like. 6th place, I'm actually giving to the clone sharpshooter. These guys can be useful in battle. Obviously, you can play as them in Battlefront 2 and they're just another clone trooper class and play just fine. But just based on this one trooper's incompetence, I don't think they deserve to be ranked any higher on this list. 5th place, I'm giving to the high orbit precision entry trooper, the Hope Troopers. I can see how these troopers would be a good idea for infiltrating enemy bases undetected, diving down in a single pod out of space, but the umbrella parachute kind of gives it away for me. If they didn't have this, they might have got away with not being so bad. 4th place goes to the clone Lancer Trooper. Again, I feel their weapons are just a bit outdated, and the fact they were so ready for this battle, like they just had the speeder bikes and lancers ready for when an enemy would attack them with these. Yes, they're cool and effective in the Clone Wars TV show, but come on, really, what is this? 3rd place goes to the clone Assassins. I guess these guys could be likened to Purge Troopers in that they're specifically trained to defeat Jedi, but the double vibro blade and the fact they're trained against Padawans makes them kind of just a bit silly. And clones aren't really melee weapon kind of troopers, are they? Got the Lancer Trooper and now these guys, you know, we're going into some other territory here. 2nd place goes to the Wookiee Clone Trooper. I can kind of see these guys being useful for the camouflage, especially if Wookiees are being captured by droid forces. Camouflaging an entire clone Wookiee battalion amongst real Wookiees would be useful for surprise attacking the Separatists, so 2nd place, there you go. And in 1st place, the least ridiculous of all the clone troopers on this list, I'm giving to the clone Blaze Trooper, mainly because they have the double flamethrowers. I can see how that'd be super effective, and although they don't have any ranged weapons, they do have a jetpack, great for getting around and getting up close and personal with enemies. And although they're a bit clumsy and have the nickname Super Troopers, I think they're kind of cool. So like we mentioned earlier, Eck and I just made another video similar to this one for his channel. I'll let him tell you a bit about that.
Thanks again for having me, Andrew. I had a really fun time talking about some of these more ludicrous clone trooper variants, and I mean, there are hundreds of them in Star Wars Legends. I think you made a really good selection here. Just a reminder, guys, after you watch this video, you can head over to my channel, EckhartsLadder, and you can see another video that Andrew and I worked on, which discusses some of the worst tactics that have been used in Star Wars battles throughout time.
So big thank you to EckhartsLadder for coming on the show. Great to have you. And definitely go check out his channel and the other video we did together. Go subscribe to him. Makes great Star Wars content every day. I'm a big fan. And now I want to know, which of these clone trooper classes do you think is the worst and the most ridiculous? And how would you rank them? Let me know in the comments. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for more on Star Wars gaming, and everything else in between. Big thanks to EckhartsLadder for being here today, and thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.